I saw a very interesting post in another Facebook thread this afternoon, and I just wanted to mention that this is part two, basically, again, of what if I told you that restaurants prioritize their dining room business over their um, DoorDash or Uber delivery businesses. I don't think that's going to be a surprise to much of anybody, but what I saw this morning was a surprise, and that is a driver walked into a Denny's and walked in, did the usual, introduced themselves by name of the customer, etc., etc. And what they told her was kind of a surprise. They said, we make orders for our dining room customers first, and then we start our delivery ones. So they hadn't even started the order yet before they arrived. Now, having restaurants start orders upon arrival of a driver, there's nothing unusual about that. It is typical in my market of Forest Lake, Minnesota. What is unusual, though, is them brazenly admitting it. I've never heard of it before. I've never heard of any restaurant out there just coming out and just straight up admitting that they make their orders for their dining room customers first before they start any of the mobile app orders at all. So they're basically saying the quiet part out loud in the case of this driver. But again, as I've mentioned before, the deeper explanation of that is that in the pandemic of 2020 and 2021, dining rooms across America closed entirely, and therefore all traditional business ceased. These restaurants otherwise would have had no revenue during this period if not for DoorDash and Uber Eats. And so they leaned very heavily they were fully dependent on delivery apps to stay alive and stay afloat. But as 2021 became 2022 and then 2023, restaurants recovered their dining room businesses. And they were able to prioritize their in-restaurant dining room and bar business once again. And so that became the most important part of their operations, just like it was before the pandemic. But now that they've gotten through to the other side of the pandemic, they didn't need the delivery apps anymore, although the income, of course, was and is a nice bonus. So this Denny's told this driver the quiet part out loud. But what I'm telling you now out loud is that it's true. And they don't have to say it for it to be true. I've watched several restaurants in this miniature market of mine start the order as I arrive. Now, in some extent, this is good for the customer, but it's very bad for drivers, of course. We're wasting extra time. Now, in DoorDash, you can report this. If you report, there's always a link on the offer screen saying what is causing the wait. Click on that link, and it'll say order not started until I arrived. You can check that box, hit submit, and that report goes to DoorDash. In many of the reports, I don't think DoorDash particularly cares, but I think in this instance, I think they do. I think if this comes across several times, I think DoorDash is going to come back to the restaurant and say, hey, look, we got a bit of a problem here. I've not seen any restaurants particularly change their ways on this one, but I don't think DoorDash particularly likes this situation, and I think they will work aggressively to remedy it in the future. That these orders should at least be made to order as they arrive. Now, another aspect I'm going to mention that I was able to confirm with the local Chipotle once upon a time with their manager at that time was that the time pickup times that we are given as Dashers and the pickup times that are given to the restaurants are about 5 minutes apart. We are told to get there 5 minutes before the restaurant is told to have it ready. This is not what I'm talking about in this post. This is a restaurant going rogue, going on their own accord to say, hey, look, we don't care about the delivery orders. We prioritize our dining room orders. Again, not a surprise. I've seen it in motion. I've just never seen a restaurant blatantly admit this to anybody, let alone another Dasher. So there it is. This restaurant said the quiet part out loud. But some of us have known this for quite some time. If you've known this, let me know your experience in the comments. I would most certainly appreciate confirmation because I believe this is true. Restaurants will prioritize their dining room over their third-party app deliveries because the restaurant orders are more important to them now that they've recovered that post-pandemic. Anyhow, it's my quick observation for today. Not so quick, but observation for the day. I'll see you on the next go-around. Peace out, homies.